What's up, everybody? We're back after a week hiatus. Thanksgiving was great. I hope that everybody had a wonderful time watching some of the games. I know that we didn't have the best games on. That Raiders game, though, was pretty good. Raiders Cowboys was enjoyable to watch. Nice shootout. If you skip the Bills Saints, I know I had passed out. The food coma kind of put me out of my misery from watching that game. So we're on to week 13. I know that you guys have missed me, so I could not leave the streamers, the subscribers, the viewers without another week of breaking down the start sits for the upcoming slate of games because the fantasy football playoffs are right around the corner. It's crazy to think that it's week 13, fantasy playoffs start week 15. It's weird because even with that extra game thrown in the regular season, it still really has gone by so quickly. Now we're already in December. So, yeah, happy holidays to everybody. But let's dive in. Well, first, as always, we're going to get to the news and notes around the NFL. Make sure that we do a little housekeeping. Make sure we're up to date. I think the newest news item is regards to Alvin Kamara. So he's not going to play tonight in Thursday night's game. Again, just another injury of another first round running back. It's been pretty bad. It's been tough. It's weird how like Ezekiel Elliott. It seems like he's really like one of the only few guys that's left that was actually drafted in the first round. I think there's probably a couple other guys, but first kind of comes to mind and he's like hanging on by a thread. Like he's got like some knee injury, but he's still like finding the end zone somehow. Jerry Jones talking about giving him this like massive load. It's like, I mean, like, okay, like we're getting just so many conflicting reports about Ezekiel Elliott. It's a terrible matchup, but you're still starting Zeke, and there's no reason to think that you're going to remove him from your lineup just because he still gets volume and he plays in a good offense, and all he needs to do is score touchdowns. If he's touchdown dependent at this point, like that's okay. Like I think that we'll be happy with that. So I don't think that you need to overthink it. A couple other guys just missing some practice. Corey Davis, yeah, you're not playing Corey Davis. Sorry, it's not happening. It's rough with Corey Davis right now. I know that Keelan Cole is actually going to miss this game as well with COVID. So there is like another opening for like another Jets. I mean, Elijah Moore is going to get a bazillion targets. Like the matchup sucks against the Eagles, but no Davis potentially, no Keelan Cole. Like I'm not saying that he was commanding a bunch of targets, but Elijah Moore had a 32% target share last week. So, I mean, if the guy's going to get a, like 10 targets, like it's really hard to bench him, especially because he's good. Like we know he's good. And I know the Eagles defense is tough, but we got to trust that talent. And Elijah Moore definitely has that talent. Kadarius Toney was sidelined on Thursday. Sterling Shepard was limited, so that's an upgrade from last week where he didn't, or from Wednesday where he didn't practice at all. Sterling Shepard, I mean, like if he plays, like he's going to get targeted, but we got question marks about is Daniel Jones going to be quarterback? Is it going to be Mike Glennon? It's just gross. Like Miami's defense is playing much better, so man, I really don't want to play Sterling Shepard. I get the allure. He's a really high target rate this year when he's on the field, but that was with Daniel Jones. So, and then, what happens if he just pulls his hamstring again? Like, it's a lot of influx. Like, it's so shocking how Kenny Galladay is like the one healthy guy and Darius Slayton, and it just doesn't even matter because he's just not getting nearly as targeted. James Robinson is something to monitor. I mean, like, Robinson is just dealing he's like playing banged up, but he's gutting out the year. It just, credit to him. You're still going to play him in RB2. Again, the matchup sucks against the Rams, but he's still going to be the main guy there. Miles Sanders says he plans on playing. Says the ankle feels good. So, yeah, I think you're going to continue to play Miles Sanders. He's there. I know that he's pretty cheap in DFS this week. I mean, look, it's a good matchup. I think that Boston Scott, I'll talk about him a little bit here on the start sit. I still think Boston Scott's in play just because Miles Sanders, it's he and Boston Scott have like averaged the same amount of fantasy points per game this year. Like Miles Sanders is like he's been set up to smash in so many different spots, but the Jets are just so bad against running backs. Like you could see a game where both Sanders and Boston Scott are fine and do pretty well. So I think that you're going to start him. He says he feels good, so I think Boston Scott's still going to play a decent amount, but we know that Sanders will be involved in a run heavy approach. He says his ankles feels good, so take that for his word. JD, this is big. This is the biggest news probably. So JD McKissick has a concussion, so he's dealing with a neck injury. Look, most of these concussion injuries have not resulted in players playing. Lamb, it seemed like he was pressing to play last week, and he didn't end up going. I know he was on a short week, but no JD McKissick. Like Antonio Gibson is just soaring up the rankings. He had a career high in targets last week, 7 targets. We know he can catch the football, and there's no other player of consequence that's going to necessarily take away from him in the passing game. Like he's going to be the main guy. So I think that Gibson's like going to be top 10 running back from here on out as long as McKissick is out. Like this was the path. He needed an injury to McKissick to like get unleashed, and we're seeing it happen. Yeah, Antonio Gibson's also really cheap in DFS, so I'm going to play a lot of him. What did I just see? I saw another news item. Oh, Melvin Gordon. Oh, so this is pretty big. I would say Melvin Gordon 50-50 for the Chiefs game. So that's not good. Like that is a very concerning for a Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon, I was kind of like on the fence about. I even thought about like putting him as a sit just because we were seeing Javonte Williams used more in the passing game over the last couple weeks. If the Chiefs are winning in this game, okay, we're going to see more Javonte Williams. But oh my God, like this was it, people. This is why we were pounding the table to trade for Javonte Williams. And people were like, no, you can't do it. It's a 50-50 split. It's like, yes, I'm not like victory lapping an injury, but I like the talent from Javonte Williams, and sometimes opportunities open up like this. And now we have an opportunity for Javonte Williams to potentially just have a bell cow workload, against the Chiefs. A beatable run defense has not graded very well for PFF this year. I know their defense has improved a little bit, but if you look at the teams that are playing pretty bad offenses, so Denver, Javonte Williams, he's going to be set up to smash. So you need to start him for sure. And Melvin Gordon, I would probably not wait for him. When it's 50-50 that a player is going to play, okay, you have to look at, all right, who am I going to play in front of him? Like Melvin Gordon's been like an RB2 every single week. So I think you can probably find a flex play. I guess at this point, probably like starting like Boston Scott over him. Like Melvin Gordon wasn't like a must play every week. You were kind of starting him just out of necessity. But now it just doesn't look like it's really probably worth waiting for him. And he may be limited. So you're playing Javonte regardless, whether Melvin Gordon plays or not. So that's kind of it for the updates. Okay, Daniel Jones also expected to play, which, oh God, my Superflex team is dying right now. Mike Glennon picked him up, thought that he was going to be my guy. Not the case, so that is unfortunate. Going to have to drop good old draft neck, but we're going to move on. We're going to improve. So that's it for the news and notes from around the league. Taysom Hill starting tonight. I think if you haven't heard about that, and then the Saints are also out their top two tackles again. So Mark Ingram should get the majority of work. I don't think that he's in such a good spot he's been in weeks before. Again, the matchup is not, it's okay. Like Dallas is pretty good against running backs. The pass catching is a question mark because when Mark Ingram had, this massive games without Kamara, he was like the only running back like available. Like Ty Montgomery hurt his finger. There was no Tony Jones. Like both those guys are like not playing. So Ty Montgomery we've seen involved in the passing game. So that kind of hurts Mark Ingram's bottom line. How many points are they going to score? Like how often is Taysom Hill going to check the ball down to the running back? How is he going to steal goal line carries? So there's a lot of question marks about Mark Ingram. So don't review him as like, oh, jam him in, like start. I think I have him in RB21 right now. So I think that he's a RB2. Like I know that he was like kind of on the fringe of like RB1 status beforehand, but there's a lot more running backs involved. He's also coming off an injury as well. So we'll see. There's a lot of question marks with Ingram that I would probably lean towards not being super, super high on him. Like, in terms of like player props, probably going to be under on Mark Ingram more than I would be over because I just don't think he's going to see like this insane workload that he was seeing a little bit earlier when it was only really him in the backfield. So that's kind of the updates from right now as of is 1:00 Eastern time. So before we get into the start sit questions and then start sit article, got to give the shout out to Pristine Auction. So we're doing a live giveaway this Sunday, December 5th during the 12 p.m. Eastern kickoff live stream right here on the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel, courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com. One lucky subscriber will receive an autographed Michael Gallup Dallas Cowboys jersey. How do you enter? It's simple. Subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube before the 12 p.m. Eastern Sunday live stream. Ask a fantasy-related question in the YouTube chat for the show. That's it. We'll announce a winner at the end of the stream, so make sure you stick around to claim your prize. Easy money, Michael Gallup, surging right now. I know that people are concerned with Amari Cooper coming back, who is also playing in this game. I still have Gallup ranked higher. Just want to see, do we know, like, Cooper's conditioning? Like, there's a lot of mouths to feed in Dallas, so I know the matchup's good, but Cooper had two good games really all year before, even with Gallup like not even playing. So I don't think Amari Cooper, I think that you can probably afford to like wait a week to kind of see him actually at full speed. I know the matchup is good, but they may not really need him that much if they, are blowing out the Saints, like, which would not be really too crazy to think. Let's get into some of these start sit questions here. Tanner, full point PPR, pick 3, Mark Ingram, Najee Harris. James Robinson, Damian Harris, or Miles Sanders. All right, so I'm definitely starting Najee Harris. Definitely starting him. I'm definitely starting James Robinson. And then I guess between Mark Ingram and Miles Sanders. I guess I would probably go with Mark Ingram just because Miles Sanders, like the matchup is really good, but like he's still splitting a lot of work with Boston Scott. So actually, you know what? I just kind of talked about Mark Ingram a little bit, like not being. So, I'll give Miles Sanders another shot. He's playing the Jets. Like the Jets are just they're just so bad. I got to give it to Miles Sanders. So I'll go with Najee, James Robinson, and Miles Sanders there. You know, sometimes I have an initial thought and I kind of think about it a little bit more, and yeah, so that's what we'll go with Tanner. Sam C. Hey Andrew, love the show. Pick 2.5. Oh my god, pick 2.5 PPR, not 2.5 players. Van Jefferson, Miles Sanders, Devontae Freeman. So I really like Devontae Freeman this week. I think that the Steelers defense is really bad. Like I just don't think it's good. Half point PPR, I would go Sanders and Devontae Freeman. I think the running backs here are this clear play. Van Jefferson is up and down. I know the matchup's good against Jacksonville, but how many targets is he going to get? Like that's really a question mark. Stafford's back. I think the running backs have a safer floors, both of them. I guess Miles Sanders probably not a super safe floor, but yeah, I'll go Miles Sanders and Devontae Freeman. MK, Taysom or Russ, 6-point quarterback passing touchdown. Yeah, I'm not starting. Look, I'm not starting Russell Wilson this week if I don't have to. Like, guys, like this offense is broken. They're bringing in Adrian Peterson to try to fix this offense. Like, it's like that meme of that guy with the I don't even remember what it's called. It's like that sticky stuff. He like slaps it on to like stop the leak. Like that's what the Seahawks are doing. Like that canister of water is their offense, and they're slapping an Adrian Peterson tape on it to think, oh, like this will fix it. Like no, like it's not even all about Russ anymore. Like this offense just sucks. It's not so it's you can't stop like blaming the finger thing. Like that's not even really it. Like yeah, he's missing some throws here and there, but like just this offensive environment's not even good. So I'm rolling the dice with Taysom. He's a rushing quarterback. I know that he doesn't have a lot of weapons, but Russell Wilson has weapons and he's doing nothing. Like I know he got it there last week, and I told people to start him last week, so I was right. But I don't mind pivoting off him because I was getting not impressed. I was watching that game. I was like, yeah, like, why did I tell people to start Russell Wilson? And I got bailed out at the end. So I would still go with Taysom Hill. And also, too, I think that there's an advantage to starting guys on Thursday night because then going into the rest of your lineup, okay, if Taysom underwhelms or whatever, okay, I need to shoot for more upside with the rest of my lineup versus, okay, if he goes off, I can go a little bit safer. Whereas Russell Wilson, you're not going to know. They're just going to play him, at the 4 o'clock window or whenever they play on Sunday. Hot and buttery Cooks or Lockett for the flex. I'm going Cooks. A good matchup against the Indianapolis Colts. Just less up and down production. I mean, they're inconsistent. I just like Russ. I'm just like, I don't trust the Seahawks offense right now. So I like Brandon Cooks a little bit more. I know the Texas offense is great, but I know Cooks is the number one guy there every single week. It could be a lock game. It basically, it's funny. Myself and one of my coworkers at PFF, we joke around about how whoever gets the first target between Lockett or Metcalf is like, you just know, okay, we know who's going to go off this week. It's gonna be a Lockett game or Metcalf game based on like wherever the first target is. So you're playing with fire. If the first target goes to Metcalf, you're like, well, all right, might as well just bench Lockett now and cry because he's not going to do anything. Ben S, Judy, Tony, or Bateman, half point PPR. So the latest update doesn't look like Tony's going to play, so he's out of this lineup. I'm going to go with Judy. I know that he wasn't great last week, but he still leads the team in target share. They didn't have to throw it all last week, so if they're out without Melvin Gordon, they also may need to lean a little bit more on the passing game if they're trailing. So I think Jerry Judy is as the guy that's the only one that's really seen a lot of targets like at all in offense. He would be the guy I would probably start over Bateman. Bateman I like, but again, it's just a matter of I keep comparing Bateman to Tim Patrick. He just like finds ways to get it done no matter what. Like targets, he's just efficient, which I like. But I just don't know. I think I would just lean on Jude. I think that he'll see a little bit more volume. Also, a very talented player. Should I start Dallas Goedert or Logan Thomas in half point PPR? I'm still gonna go with Dallas Goedert here. I think that he's in a good spot to bounce back. Something I look a lot is looking at players that like uncharacteristically just see like an extremely low target share, for like one random week, like a Jerry Judy last week. And that's not a reason. It's like not a trend. Like it's just something that you need to kind of look at as a blip on the radar. I don't want to make it sound like an excuse, but that's kind of what you need to do. Like if you just kind of look, okay, for example, like T. Higgins came out the bye week, got like 0 targets or whatever. And it's because they were rushing the ball so much. Tyler Boyd like saw a random spike in targets. It's like, oh, like is Tyler Boyd back? And then last week we found like, nope, Tyler Boyd is not back. He's still relevant. T. Higgins is still, the guy there alongside Jamar Chase. So Dallas Goedert, entering, last week's game had a super high target rate, highest among tight ends and wide receivers. And, last week was just a disaster for the Eagles offense. They couldn't do anything. All the interceptions thrown by Jalen Hurts. Look, I mean, Dallas Goedert's really talented. I think that Logan Thomas is in a good spot as well, but between the two guys, I still lean on the side of Dallas Goedert. James T. Kirk, Hawkinson, or Knox. I'll go with Hawkinson. I know Dawson Knox has been, he's been lights out, but in terms of like the volume of the offense, there is no DeAndre Swift. So it's like Hawkinson, like he has to get the ball. like one way or another, he needs to get fed in this passing offense against the Minnesota Vikings. So I think Hawkinson is the guy. I have them ranked pretty closely, but Hawkinson's my choice there. Rudy 2-week playoff start sit. Should I drop Antonio Brown and Swift for bench spots? I'm currently in second. I would really, I mean, I'd rather, I mean, this is tough because I really don't know. I mean, they're both going to be coming back in 2 weeks. 2-week playoff starts next week. I mean, it really depends on who you can get or who you're dropping them for, I guess. I mean, I think I want to hold on to those guys. Like, if you think that you're going to get picked up by somebody else and someone else is going to, unless you like need those spots, like right now, I would still hold them because, or really, probably a better question is, okay, so are you going to start them when they come back? Like, kind of like look at their schedules and kind of project, okay, based on, the projected timetable, I think Antonio Brown is out for 2 more weeks. Swift is out for like 3 to 4 weeks. I guess it's smart that you're making the decision now where you're like, okay, I think the question you want to ask yourself, okay, like am I going to play these guys when they come back, like when they're active? And if that's a no, then you can probably drop them. That's kind of the way I would put it and try to ask yourself that question. Also look at, potentially if you don't have Jamal Williams, like someone may pick up Swift because they have Jamal Williams, or if they have Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, like I think that maybe you want to keep AB just in case one of those guys gets hurt. Dalton Jones, Darnell Mooney, or Mike Williams. Darnell Mooney. Mike Williams is going to be a sit for me. Going to list him as a sit this week. Look, I mean, why we keep this guy has had one good game since like week 6. It's just he started out really hot and we were happy about it, but then it's like he kind of just went back to being his inconsistent self. He's not seeing a lot of downfield targets. I mean, Keenan Allen is just like soaking up so much volume in this offense. Same thing with Austin Eckler. Like it's weird, like how there's no like third receiver of consequence. Like they have like a 3-man rotation at tight end, but Keenan Allen just like sees so many targets. He's like 30% target share in this offense. And Mike Williams is not getting it done downfield. He's not converting his red zone looks. So Darnell Mooney has the second most receiving yards of the last 2 weeks. So the only way I would potentially might want to pivot off Mooney is if we get more reports on this game weather-wise. So keep status on the Chicago Bears Cardinals game. There's a lot of concerns about like weather. So we will see kind of like how things shake out here. But for right now, I'm going to go with Mooney. Christian R, full point PPR, Hawkinson or Freiermuth. Let me check the rankings here. I think that I might have Freiermuth a tidbit ahead of our guy, TJ Hawkinson. I know, so Freiermuth is also dealing with a concussion. So that's like one thing you have to keep in mind. We'll see if he passes the concussion protocol. So first he's got to suit up. But I mean, his matchup is just great. He's got the Baltimore Ravens. They've been one of the worst defenses against tight ends this year. So I have Freiermuth higher. And yeah, that's who I would probably go with. So I'll go with Freiermuth if he plays. If not, obviously play Hawkinson. T Square start. Mark Ingram, T Square. Start Mark Ingram, CH or Javonte Williams in the flex. I'm gonna start Javonte Williams probably. I think I'm willing to roll the dice. If anything, don't start Mark Ingram. I would not start Mark Ingram. You have CH Javonte Williams, so then you can make a decision. Okay, a Sunday night rolls around. All right, if Melvin Gordon plays, I play CH. If Melvin Gordon doesn't play, I play Javonte Williams. I don't try to. I would stress to not try to jam in Mark Ingram. I did this last week where I like jammed in Tony Jones pretty much everywhere, and it sucked. It was terrible. I mean, he got a lot of volume, but it was for not much because the Saints offense was supposed to be good with Simeon. So I would just be a little cautious. I'm not as high on Ingram this week as we were in some past weeks. So I think that one's easy. Stick with CH and Javonte. All right, let's get into the starts here for the start sit. Again, the full article is over on pff.com, so you can find all of my written content. Also on the PFF Fantasy Football Podcast with my coworker Ian Harditz. So that's a lot of fun. We Talk a lot of ball on there. So make sure you check that out as well. So Taysom Hill is my start at quarterback. Look, he doesn't have a lot of weapons, understandably, but he's a rushing quarterback. Like that's like the biggest thing here. And I think that you don't want to underlook how Sean Payton can impact an offensive game plan. Like he understands how to do certain things. So I do think that he's in a good spot here. Dallas is going to score points on Saints defense. No doubt in my mind. So that's going to push Taysom Hill to have to put points up as well. They're going to be more aggressive on offense. This is not the Bills defense that they're facing. Dallas gives up a lot of yards. So yeah, I'm going to go with Taysom Hill again. He averaged 22.6 fantasy points per game last year in 4 games as the starter. Really high completion percentage. So yeah, I really don't think it's too hard complicated. Again, if he gets 15 fantasy points, I think that you're probably fine with that as a streamer. Like he's going to probably run the. I would be very surprised if he doesn't run the football at all. Like they need to inject some type of life into this offense, which Trevor Simeon did not do. So if anything, again, we could see like a totally weird offense come out. Like, how are the Cowboys going to defend Taysom Hill? Like, he's played like a handful of snaps, at different positions, but he has not played quarterback this year. Remember, they spent the entire offseason with Taysom Hill, like at quarterback, him prepping as a quarterback. So I think that we could be pleasantly surprised about how Taysom Hill plays in this game. Everyone's kind of writing off the Saints, so I would not do that. I think Taysom Hill's a good start this week. And like I mentioned before, some of these questions, I would start him over Russell Wilson. Jamal Williams comes in next, running back for the Detroit Lions. Again, it's just chasing the volume. And Jamal Williams, he's fine. Like, he's not this uber great running back. He's exciting to watch in terms of like his persona, he's charismatic. He talks about how he's like SpongeBob and he's running around in the rain. It's like it's funny. So we're like, yeah, like I like Jamal Williams. So yeah, I mean, last week when DeAndre Swift got banged up, he played 63% of the snaps, so 20 touches for 83 yards. He also ran a route on 56% of Jared Goff's dropbacks and commanded a 33% target rate per route run. That's really the most important thing, is he's involved in the passing game, because the Lions, I know this sucks for Lions fans, but at 0-10-1, they're probably going to be losing in this game. They'll probably lose this game. They're probably going to be trailing in this game, which means Jamal Williams needs to be involved as a receiver, which he has been. So, yeah, he's going to catch dump off passes from Jared Goff, and that's what you need. So, in PPR leagues, he's obviously a little bit higher up than like half point PPR, and standard is a little bit more fringy because we just don't know if he's going to be able to score a touchdown. But the Vikings have not been great against running backs, allowed the 6th most fantasy points to running backs over the past 4 weeks. So I think that Jamal Williams is in a solid spot here. Devontae Freeman. So this one may be a little bit shocking. And really, like, you look at the Steelers defense. I talked about this on the Fantasy Pros Start Sit podcast. Devontae Freeman, it's got like a fringe RB2. But look, the Steelers defense is not good anymore. I'm sorry. Like, it's not good. TJ Watt, I believe, he's not going to play in this game. He's on the COVID IR list. But the Steelers defense ranks 5th in rushing yards and 2nd in explosive run rate allowed to opposing running backs this season. Over the last 4 weeks, no team has allowed more rushing yards than the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, this is not your dad's steel curtain, the 70s, whatever his name, like Jack Lambert or whatever, the guy's like bleeding through his nose mat or a face mask. Like, this defense is not good. Like, they've been giving up a ton of yards, explosive runs. So yeah, Devontae Freeman, like, not the most explosive runner, but he gets an advantage of running alongside Lamar Jackson. The lanes open up a little bit more. He's involved more in the passing game. He has yet to relinquish his role to Latavius Murray. Freeman has 16 carries over the last 2 weeks, like in both games. So he's been the one that's been getting the touches, and he's been fine. So I think that he finds the end zone here. I think that you're going to be happy you started Devontae Freeman. I think he's a safe RB2 this week. Again, like, he's only going to get you so far in terms of like full-on upside as a running back, but I think that he's a solid running back nevertheless. Odell Beckham Jr. Yeah, OBJ is back in our starting lives. It sounds very weird, but it's true right now, and I think that as long as we don't hear anything bad about his like hip injury that he's dealing with, look, we saw the snap share get back up. He ran a route on 98% of Matthew Stafford's dropback, so he was in there basically all the time. And I think the interesting thing was the most was Van Jefferson moved more into the slot with Cooper Kupp. So we had OBJ kind of operating as the number 1 wide receiver on the outside, which was different. Like, we hadn't really seen that before. So, we saw 24% target share, which I'd like to see. And the Jaguars, that's how you attack them on the perimeter. So they rank dead last in terms of passer rating allowed, 115.5. Two receivers lined up out wide. So I know that we're kind of looking at Van Jefferson and OBJ, kind of like, oh, like which guy do I start? But just kind of like based on that, like if I have to give a reason why I think it'd be Odell Beckham instead of Van Jefferson, it'd be like, okay, the Jacksonville Jaguars have been less efficient defending perimeter receivers versus slot receivers. Now, it's not to say that, okay, Van Jefferson, he's going to run some routes on the outside. And could that be where he breaks a big one? Of course, that's possible. But I think in this particular matchup, just looking at the numbers, I would lean towards OBJ. That's why I've ranked higher than Van Jefferson. They're both on the field on every single play. And yeah, so OBJ is getting open. He's a talented receiver. That was never the question mark. It was just him and the connection between Baker Mayfield was just not there. So I think that Beckham is someone that you can start after, we've seen a couple weeks within the Rams. We're seeing him running a full allotment of snaps. So if you have him, I think it's finally time to kind of unleash him. The Jaguars defense is not good. Logan Thomas. So last one here, tight end for the Washington football team. Again, very, very encouraging usage he saw on Monday Night Football. Ran a route on 68% of Taylor Heineke's dropbacks. Saw 7 targets. And he almost had that touchdown at the end of the game. So he was close to even having like a better day. I expect his routes to increase now that he's kind of gotten a week back of football action. I mean, he was out for a while. I think he went out like week 3. He was gone for like 6 weeks. So it's been a while since he's played football. I know that I have Logan Thomas. I had him like on an IR and for like basically it felt like the entire season, but he's back now. And I think that you're going to want to start him against the Raiders. Second most fantasy points allowed per game to tight ends this season. So it's a good matchup. Raiders run a lot of cover 3, which means the middle of the field is wide open. So Logan Thomas, I think is a solid start this week. And I think that if you had kind of waited for him this whole time, I think he's kind of back into the good graces of, okay, we can trust this tight end. Remember, he was a consensus top 8 tight end during draft season. So I think we can feel confident going back to him. All right. Before we get into more start sit questions, as always, you got to hydrate. Okay. Let's dive in. Start with David Berry. Half-point PPR, James Robinson, Tony Pollard, or Javonte Williams need one running back. I mean, I'm willing to wait on Javonte Williams. Like, I think that if he gets the full start, like he would be probably like a top 15 running back for me, and I probably want to start him over James Robinson. So I would just wait. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to. Again, Pollard. I feel like better about starting like in a pinch. I'm like, oh, like I hate all these options. Like, okay, I'm gonna throw Pollard in there, kind of seat roll the dice because we just don't know what his workload is gonna be like. We know he's good when he gets the ball, but it's a matter of how much he's gonna touch the ball. We just don't really know. Whereas Robinson, we're gonna see him touch the ball a lot. He'll probably be inefficient. Javonte Williams could like be like a top 12 running back if we just get all right. Melvin Gordon, like he's out, because we might learn about that on Sunday. So in terms of this question, in terms of anyone watching this, it has Javonte Williams like, and it's someone that's like on Thursday night, like wait, like I would wait as long as possible to get that information. So I would lean towards right now. I would probably say James Robinson, but that could change again if Javonte is the guy. But just don't start Tony Pollard of those 3 players. JM Visuals, Foster Moreau, Tyler Conklin. Oh, Foster Moreau, easy. Look, Darren Waller is not going to play. I have there's no doubt in my mind that thinks he's going to play in this game. Like he's been listed as like week to week or something, like day to day. Like no, like he's not playing. So Foster Moreau is like, if he's on your waiver wire, like you need to scoop him up. Like he's just an automatic pickup. He's a tight end 1, like plug and play. Like he played 100% of the snaps. He went 6 for 6 for 80 yards and a touchdown. Like he's going to take over that tight end 1 role. And like role for tight end is so important. I've learned so much about this over at PFF, like how often a tight end's running a route is so highly correlated to how well they perform in fantasy. Just like tight ends that don't run a lot of routes are just like running so thin in terms of scoring. So he's going to play all the snaps, and that means he's probably going to do well. There's really not many tight ends that play all the snaps and don't produce. Tyler Higbee's like the only guy that really does, unfortunately, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So yeah, Foster Moreau for me. Matt Vogel. Hey, Andrew. Happy holidays. Start to Javonte Williams, Barkley, or Antonio Gibson. So again, you're going to want to wait for this news. So again, definitely get Antonio Gibson. J.D. McKissic's probably not going to play, so I would go lean towards him. For right now, based on the information I know, I would still go with Barkley over Javonte Williams. But yeah, Melvin Gordon's ruled out. I would go with Javonte and Antonio Gibson. Kyle Z, Pittman or Waddle in a standard league. Man, like I don't know. I'm gonna have trouble like with this question because like Waddle's been really good in like PPR. I don't know how good he's been in standard. I still think I have Pittman ranked higher just looking at my half point PPR rankings, I would probably still go with Pittman because I think he has a little bit more touchdown equity. But I do think that at the same time, like Waddle, just like, I mean, that dude just like eats targets for lunch, man. Like he's just, he has such a high target share in that offense. And the Giants are a slot funnel defense. So, but because it's standard, I think Pittman has a better chance of finding it. I mean, Waddle hasn't scored a lot of touchdowns this year. So I will go with Michael Pittman. Mike Peterson drop Lockett for T Higgins. Yeah, man. I mean, if that's what you're getting, like, sure, I would do that. I don't know why T Higgins is on your waiver wire, but yeah, I mean, he's playing better than Lockett is right now, so I don't feel bad about that. John B, I need to start 3. I mean, if you're looking to play someone this week, I think that it makes sense. I think both guys are in good spots, but I mean, eventually Metcalf's going to like turn around to an extent which will hurt Lockett. John B, I need to start 3: Damon Harris, Devontae Freeman, CH, Ingram, or Pollard. So I would go with probably Devontae Freeman, probably Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and probably Ingram, I guess I would go there then. So yeah, of those guys, I'd probably start Ingram tonight. Hold out CH. Tony Pollard would probably start behind Ingram because I think Ingram will probably be more involved in the game plan. So Keith Erickson, great last name. Love it. Mac Jones or Taysom Hill? I'm going Taysom Hill. Easy. Mac Jones. I'm not starting Mac Jones against the Bills. No. Mac Jones has been good against really bad defenses. The Bills are the best defense he's played all year. I know Tre'Davious White's out, but no. Start Taysom Hill. Mike Peterson, Eagles, Colts, or Finns defense. Man, I think Mike always asks me this defensive question, so he's always like throwing me in for a loop. So the Eagles are playing the Jets. Colts are playing the Texans. Finns are playing the Giants. Man, do you have all these on your team, man? Or are they all on the waiver wire? I think that I probably go with the Eagles defense. I mean, the Jets are just so bad. Yeah, so I got the Eagles ranked number 1, so I'll go with the Eagles DST. Zeke or Henderson in the flex. I'll go with Henderson. Better matchup against the Jaguars. And Zeke is just, the question mark about the knee. Eric Air, McNair, pick 2, Darrell Henderson, Zeke, Jamal Williams, Henderson, and Zeke. Allen C, Pittman, or Ayuk in standard. I'm going Ayuk. I think that Ayuk's in a really good spot this week. There's no there's no Deebo Samuel, so we should see kind of targets funnel around Ayuk and George Kittle. So I think that Ayuk's in a really good spot. Can a high Andrew flex mark Ingram or Metcalf? Please help. Man, that's rough. I'm probably gonna go with Metcalf. I just like Mark Ingram. I'm just like, yeah, like he's gonna start, but is he gonna be limited? Like, so I would roll the dice with Metcalf. He did pretty well against the 49ers last week, or the last time they played. Joel, hi Andrew, love the show. Full point PPR, Josh Jacobs or Barkley. I think I have Saquon Barkley ranked a little bit higher just because he's more involved as a receiver. Jacobs has a decent receiving role as well. I have Barkley at 12, Jacobs at 17.5 point PPR. And it probably changes a little bit more for Saquon in full point PPR. Let's see. Kroll the Warrior Princess. Hi, Andrew. It's not pretty, but for PPR flex, Gage, Kendrick Bourne, or Foster Moreau. Oh man, I like God, Russell Gage. I just can't live with myself like recommending him as a player. I know he's getting targets, but it's so inefficient that he's doing it. And like Kendrick Bourne, I don't like it that much either because he's not getting enough targets. It's like I don't want to recommend a tight end in the flex, but I feel like Moreau is like in a really good spot. So give me a Foster Moreau. It's just like, I mean, like if you ask me if it's like Russell Gage, Kendrick Bourne, or Darren Waller, I'd be like, okay, obviously start Darren Waller. So I think Moreau is kind of like 80% Darren Waller. So yeah, I'm gonna do a Foster Moreau. That's the only guy I like. So I'll go with him. Taylor Wellman, must win situation, bench 2. Love it. Van Jefferson. So Elliott, Van Jefferson, Eli Moore, Kirk. Thank you. Probably gonna bench Van Jefferson and Christian Kirk. Elijah Moore had a 32% target share last week, and also we're hearing about all the injuries for the Jets receivers. So Brandon Boyd, PPR, Pittman, or Van Johnson, or I don't know who Van Johnson is. I'm gonna go with Pittman and PPR for Brandon Boyd. All right, now let's dive into the sits for week 13. I know I've probably mentioned a couple of them already here on the live stream, but we'll dive in. We'll dig a little bit deeper because that's what matters. Let's see. So Russell Wilson, yeah, talked about Russ a lot. I just don't see the point. I see the point. I get it. Like Russell Wilson, but like Russell Wilson is so streaky. Like this is not anything new. Like he has streaks where he just sucks and is not good, and then he has games where he's like on fire. And right now, it's pretty. We can kind of tell that he's like not on fire right now. Like he's struggling. The offense is struggling. They're trying to bring in Patrick or Adrian Peterson to fix the offense, which is just like I don't even know. It's like a joke. But the last couple of weeks, so since he's come back, he's averaged 11.9 fantasy points per game, 29th, 17.3 expected fantasy points per game, which is 16th. He's PFF's 34th ranked quarterback. Not good. Not good. He hit the Freddie Swain touchdown late in the game last week, and the offense as a whole is just broken. PFF grades every offense every single week. And I looked at the grades for the last 3 weeks. Seattle, 56.3 offensive grade is the worst since week 10. So it is not all on Russ. Like it's this offense that's just bad. So the matchup was the best pretty much against the football team. Like that defense sucks. And Russell was like just got there. So I know the 49ers defense isn't just like this extreme juggernaut, but I don't know. I mean, like you're praying that he just does what he did last time, 21.5 fantasy points, but like that was that was like quarterback 8. So even if you bench him for someone that, a Carson Wentz, a Taysom Hill, like I really think that the results will be similar or if not better. Like I just think there's way more risk. I mean, Russell Wilson is just like, what if he doesn't have it? Like he's not good. So yeah, I'm just like don't want to play. I want to see him play an actual good game first. So I'm out on Russell Wilson. Running backs, Damian Harris. I don't like Damian Harris. I don't like Ramondre Stevenson because the Bills have a good run defense. Like I know they got ripped up by Jonathan Taylor, but they were missing Star Lotulelei, a couple other pieces on their defensive line, and Damian Harris has been super, super, super touchdown dependent. He's maxed out at 10 to 12 touches the last 2 weeks. Reminder Stevenson is continuing to get work in. They both have 21 carries over the last 2 weeks. Bills rank 6th in fewest rushing yards allowed to running backs. And Harris is not a factor in the passing game, like a 0. So if the Bills get a lead, Patriots are playing from behind, which they really haven't been during their winning streak. They've basically been winning every single game. Then Harris is going to get game scripted out, and that's not good. So kind of like the Bucks game where Harris did basically nothing. And I know that seemed like so long ago, but I mean, eventually the Patriots will lose another game. At least I know the Patriots fan of me thinks no, but the analyst side of me is like, yeah, they're probably going to lose a game at some point. So I would try to shy away from Damian Harris if I can. Mike Williams, I mentioned earlier. Look, here's what we got for Mike Williams. So all right, so he has one fantasy finish inside the top 30 since week 6. 16% target share of the past 4 weeks is actually almost equal to that of Austin Eckler. Like he's like seeing the same amount of targets as a running back in his own offense. And it's half of Keenan Allen, basically. Keenan Allen's at 29%. So look, he's not seeing a lot of high value targets. He's 254 air yards over the last, or since week 6, or over the last 4 weeks, excuse me, outside the top 40. 1.3 yards per route run, not efficient. Bengals have been better on defense. Like they have been a much better defense as of late. 3rd in fewest fantasy points allowed to wide receivers over the past 4 weeks. As someone that played Mike Williams last week over Jalen Waddle, God, I was just like beside myself. And yeah, I'm not doing that again. So sorry, Mike Williams. Yeah, I get he's a boom or bust wide receiver, but it's just been more bust than booms. So I'm just not, thrilled about trying to get Mike Williams into my lineup. Again, if you're trying to shoot for like maximum upside, okay, I get that. But I feel like there may be some better alternatives to just safer plays than especially if it was like he's been in like smash spots, but just has not delivered. So I'm just gonna move away from Mike Williams. Kendrick Bourne. I know that someone asked a question about Bourne. I just he's not seeing a lot of targets in the offense. Again, like we need this volume here. He's been riding on the touchdowns. So since week 9, he's been averaging 15.6 fantasy points per game, wide receiver 15, but he's only at 8.1 expected fantasy points per game, which ranks 61st, second most fantasy points scored over expectation. That's kind of like a sign for regression. Like regression is coming. You know how like Jamar Chase was like unsustainably producing and now he's like kind of like fell down, come back to earth significantly. That's Kendrick Bourne. Like he's going to come back down to earth, and it seemed only just that he does it against a tougher matchup against the Buffalo Bills. I know they don't have Tre'Davious White, but it's not like White was going to shadow cover Kendrick Bourne anyway. It's just he's still running less routes than Nelson Aguilar. Like I get he's being targeted when he is on the field, but I just don't think that his peripheral metrics just aren't great enough for me to at least buy in for him right now. Tyler Higbee. So Tyler Higbee is the rare case of, okay, this guy plays so much, but he just like doesn't do anything. And I look, so Tyler Higbee is like, I like went full circle with him. Like I was fading him in the offseason, like, no, this guy's not going to play enough routes. He's not going to, and it's like one of those things where like my process was wrong, but like the result was correct. Where like I was telling people not to play Higbee because he blocks too much. Like he's too much of a blocker. And that's really not been the case at all this year. Like he's actually been running a lot of routes, but his target rate per route run is not good. And actually, this was actually something I point out to in the offseason where his target rate per route run decreased significantly from the past year. So it's not surprising to see it also like decreasing and just not be good this year. He's not commanding targets at a high rate on a per route run basis. So yeah, I mean, he's basically in the Evan Ingram tier of, hey, I'm running routes, but I don't get targeted. And yeah, we saw that the last week with Evan Ingram. Great matchup against Eagles, didn't matter. So yeah, great matchup against the Jaguars. Probably doesn't matter because if you don't get targeted, then it really doesn't matter. So gonna fade Tyler Higbee. There's a lot of other tight ends I'd rather play. James O'Shaughnessy, bold take. James O'Shaughnessy for the Jaguars outscores Tyler Higbee in the same game. Yeah, crazier things have happened. Let's get into more of these starts and sits. But first, of course, we need to talk about the jersey giveaway. So, again, we're doing a live giveaway this Sunday, December 5th, during the 12 p.m. Eastern kickoff live stream right here on the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel, courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com. One lucky subscriber will receive an autographed Michael Gallup Dallas Cowboys jersey. Big D, gotta love it. How do you enter? It's simple. Subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel before the 12 p.m. Eastern Sunday live stream. Ask a fantasy-related question in the YouTube chat during the show. That's it. We'll announce the winner at the end of the stream, so make sure you stick around to claim your prize. Michael Gallup's playing tonight. I got him ranked higher than Amari Cooper. Is that a hot take? I don't know. But Gallup has been pretty good. I like Gallup. He's trying to learn. He's trying to get paid. He's trying to get paid, man. He's going to be a free agent next year. And he really hasn't he's missed like the majority of this season. But I have one team with Gallup and CeeDee Lamb. I'm just going to ride both of them. Just like, all right, see what happens. Saints defense, not good against receivers. We'll see. Marshall Lattimore can't cover all of the guys. So someone's going to get a plus matchup. And my bet's on Michael Gallup having a day to ball out. Okay. More of these starts and questions. Vince, Gallup or T. Higgins? All right. This is a good question because I got to check the ranks because it's close. Like I like them both. Gallup, and then Cooper's back. I don't know what Cooper role is going to be. So I'm going with the ranks here. And I have Michael Gallup slightly ahead of T. Higgins. Gallup at 23, Higgins at 26. So I'm going to go with some Michael Gallup. Let's go. Let's roll. Let's roll Tide. I know Gallup didn't go to Alabama, but whatever. We're going to roll Tide anyway. CV Barbecue. Nice. Stevenson or Pollard? I'll go with Tony Pollard here. I don't like the matchup as much. Pollard also just like Pollard looks better than Zeke and Stevenson. I mean, Stevenson I think looks better than Harry Harris at times, but it's like to not the same disparity. So I'll go with Tony Pollard. That's a good question. I like that. That's a good start to question. But I feel good about Pollard. David F. Mooney or Pollard in the flex half point PPR. Thanks. Look, I mean, I wish I had more information about this weather. But I mean, the weather could change, and like Mooney has like this massive target. He's like a 33% target share. He's like 240 receiving yards in the last 2 weeks. So I get the allure of Pollard, but again, like we don't know how many touches he's going to get. And I know he looks great. The Saints have a good run defense, so I'll still go with Darnell Mooney. Nemesis, Andrew, Fantasy Pro starts is telling me to start Cousins over Mahomes. What's up with that? Blasphemy. I don't know. I mean, again, it's obviously weighing in the matchup, of the Detroit Lions, but I think Mahomes has done enough this year to be like, hey, I'm going to start him. I mean, Kirk Cousins, look, it's a great matchup for him. We all know it is. Like, the Lions suck. Like, no question. Like, they're terrible. And Kirk Cousins, like, what? So he was like the quarterback. I have quarterback 10 this week. Let me see. Last time he played the Lions, I don't think that he finished very, very highly. Yeah, he finished as quarterback 21. It was like weird because he was like good in the game, but he just didn't. He only threw one touchdown. So yeah, gonna go with Mahomes there. Goose, Breida or Coleman as a flex in my deep PPR super flex. Oh god. I guess I'll go with Tevin Coleman. I mean, Matt Breida is like, he's still like behind Devin Singletary, whereas Tevin Coleman is like the lead running back on his team. Matt Breida is still playing behind Devin Singletary, so go with Coleman. Dylan Burns, thanks again for doing these. Appreciate it, man. I'm always trying to help the community best I can. I mean, look, I write about this stuff. I'll do all the research. So I'm just like, especially at this time, like Thursday is kind of when I finish all of my writing for the upcoming week. So I just kind of like empty the buckets of information that I have. A lot of hand gestures here on this glorious Thursday. All right. Kendrick Bourne, Dallas Goddard, or Mark Ingram, full flex PPR, need one. Probably go with Mark Ingram there. Again, um, Mark Ingram is not a smash play in my opinion, but I don't think that really any of those guys are smash plays. Goddard's been up and down. Kendrick Bourne, I already talked about like some concerns where Ingram. And like, look, there's an advantage to playing some guys earlier on because then you can know, okay, if Ingram busts, all right, then I can make adjustments on my lineup versus, Kendrick Bourne plays on Monday night. So it could be like literally, it doesn't even matter what he does. By the time your match could basically be over. So, uh, as they say, rip the band-aid off now and start Mark Ingram. But I think just in that case, Ingram's probably the guy to go with. John M. I need to start these three. I need to start. Oh, three. Oh, so you listed four guys. Well, Chubb is not playing this week, so I think you can go with CH Pollard and Najee. John M. I'm not sure if you need to re-ask that question. Unless you're just giving me a layup. I can't be wrong. Like I can't be wrong with that question. So, if I am wrong, please let me know. Tim Smith, full point PPR, Gallup or Brandon Cooks. I'm going Brandon Cooks. Quarterback Kirk Cousins or Taysom Hill. It's close. So I think that this is so based on, so I have them back to back. So I have Taysom Hill at quarterback 9. I have Kirk Cousins at quarterback 10. So I really think that it's based on what's your sensibility on safety versus upside. So I think that Cousins probably offers a safer floor. I mean, he's playing the Lions. Like, they suck. Like, in worst case, so he scored 14 fantasy points the last time he played them. Like, that's probably, like, his floor. So, I think so. I may actually tweak my ranks a little bit. So, I have them in the same tier. But, I have been, I would say, a little bit aggressive at times with, like, these quarterbacks that really haven't played in a while. I have him ranked ahead of Cousins, Herbert, and Joe Burrow, but I mean, after like looking at that game, I was thinking like, "Oh, that's like a shootout game potentially. Like both those quarterbacks could go off. And I think that in most cases you probably wouldn't pick up Taysom to start him over those guys. So I think I might make a small tweak and move him down to quarterback 12. I know I'm a quarterback 9. I may have been a little bit too aggressive on it, but we'll see. I might move him down a little bit, but I think that if I were this situation, I wouldn't drop. If I needed like a maximum upside, like if I'm like a huge underdog, okay, maybe I go with Taysom Hill, but I do realize Taysom Hill has a lot more ambiguity around him and risk. So I think that he's a little more risky. If you're fine with that, then okay, go with him. But if you're just like, hey, I want the safe play, I would probably go with Kirk Cousins. Again, I have them ranked back to back in the same tier. Really real, Gallup or Claypool. I'm gonna go with. I think that I have Michael Gallup right ahead. So we just like don't know what Amari Cooper's role is going to be. Like Michael Gallup's been playing pretty well the last couple weeks. So yeah, I have Gallup 23, Claypool at 28. So I'll go with Michael Gallup. Neil P, Hill or Joe Burrow. Yeah, because so similar sentiment. It's like if you Joe Burrow's probably safer, like as a safer pick, whereas Hill is upside, a lot of question marks. So again, and I think that the best way to put this is like you're not picking up Taysom Hill to start him over Joe Burrow. So if you already have them both in your roster, it's like okay, then I would probably maybe lean towards Hill. But if you don't need to like make a roster move, then I would just stick with Burrow. I don't think that the discrepancy is too large. So obviously, Burrow is probably a little bit safer. Like Hill's a risky pick, like he is. But like, if you're asking me who the best streamer is this week, it's Taysom Hill. Like, if I have a guy on a bye week, I want Hill. If I've not been riding a quarterback every single week, like if I don't have like a week, if Joe Burrow is like your weekly starter, then just start him. Like, just keep him in your lineup. Whereas if he is like on the waiver wire or something, like to pick a guy up, just pick up Hill. Wiley need to. I hope that helps. Like I'm trying to like again, it's not always black and white, apples to apples situation. I have them ranked in the same tier, so it's not like it's like so obviously Burrow over Taysom Hill. Well, no, I think there's a real conversation. It really depends on like your tolerance and what you need in your lineup. Neil P. All right, so sorry, that was Neil P's questions already. Wiley, need to. Mike Williams, Jacoby Myers, Van Jefferson, Emmanuel Sanders, Chase Claypool, AJ Green, Russell Gage, Traquan Smith. So Chase Claypool for me, and probably Van Jefferson. I think maybe I'd probably actually go like Jacoby Myers. Actually, let me see. So yeah, definitely Claypool. And then I have Van Jefferson. Yeah, I'll go with Van Jefferson there. I think Van Jefferson has more upside. If you want a safer play, probably go Jacoby Myers. Skyler, but definitely Chase Claypool. Skyler Martin, need one at flex. Michelle. Okay, Michelle's obviously if you play him with if no Darrell Henderson. Boston Scott, Cortland Sutton, Corey Davis, Kadarius Toney, Pratt Fryermuth, full point PPR. I'll go Bart Scott, Boston Scott. I will go with Boston Scott there. Macho B, full point PPR, Tevin Coleman, Boston Scott, Kittle or Hawkinson. Oh God, Kittle. You gotta start Kittle here. Kittle is just set up to friggin' go off. There's no Debo Samuel. Like this is what we see. This is what we see all the time with these 49ers. Like when one guy leaves, the other guys just friggin' become monsters. Let's go with Kittle. Amy Nicole, I need two: Patterson, Madison, or Michelle. Damn. That is Madison and Mitchell. I'd say like it sucks. You have to bench Patterson, but I mean he has like the worst matchup of the three guys. So yeah, Patterson. I don't feel great about it, but yeah, Madison and Michelle. Cowboys defense or Chiefs? I'm gonna go with the Chiefs defense. John C. Messy choice. Cortland Sutton, Russell Gage, T.Y. Hilton, Curtis Samuel, PPR need high upside. All right, so like I love how you put that in there. Dude, the Cortland Sutton like has to deliver at some point, you'd think, but I also know that the Chiefs corners are like pretty good. Oh man, this is tough. Who do I have ranked higher? I think that God, is it really gonna be T.Y. Hilton? Dude, I have T.Y. Hilton and Cortland Sutton ranked back to back, of course. Of course. John C, you're absolutely killing me right now. I mean to circle back to this question, honestly. Okay, it's not Gage, it's not Curtis Samuel. PPR. PPR, man. Oh God. This is tough. like I just Cortland Sutton I know is good. Okay, I know he's a good wide receiver, but I also know that the defenses don't matter. Man, but T.Y. Hilton also always kills the Texans. Every single time he plays them, he kills the Texans. I'm doing it. Let's go with T.Y. Hilton. Just so you know, John C, like I'm gonna be thinking about you when T.Y. Hilton like goes off against the Texans because he always does. And Cortland Sutton, I wish I could like have faith in him, but he just is not getting targeted. And you think that okay, in a high scoring environment, they're playing from behind, like he should get the ball, but Bridgewater's just not connecting with him. So I'll go with Ty. It's close though. I don't feel great about it. Don't feel great about it because I love Cortland Sutton. I think T.Y. Hilton's kind of dusty, but the Texans matchup is just so like I don't know. He just owns the Texans. Noah Fant or Cole Kmet. I'm gonna go with Cole Kmet here. Better. He's just more involved getting targets. Like Noah Fant's not getting targeted at all. So Cole Kmet for me. Juan Mendoza. Hello, Andrew. Please pick two: Ayuk, Higgins, and Montgomery. I'm gonna go with Ayuk and Montgomery. Ayuk is going to see more targets without Deebo Samuel. Montgomery is a bell cow back. Cardinals are give up a lot of explosive run plays. Charles T, last question here. Half point PPR, Dalton Schultz or Mike Gesicki? Going to go with Dalton Schultz. He's still better offense. Gesicki is fine, I think, but I think I'm still going to go with Dalton Schultz there. All right, folks, that's going to do it for the Week 13 edition of the Fantasy Pros Start or Sit live stream. Hope you all enjoyed the program, of course. Hope you're looking forward to some Dallas Cowboys and New Orleans Saints tonight. Should be a fun game to watch. I'm really intrigued to see how Taysom Hill plays out. Like, I'm telling people to start him, and I hope that he delivers. I really do. I think the Taysom Hill over Russell Wilson is probably the most. I feel confident about that. Again, I mentioned some of those other players. I think it's closer, but yeah, Taysom Hill. I think that he's in a good spot, so we will see how things shake out. But as always, you can follow me on Twitter at @AndrewErickson_. I'm also on TikTok at @AndrewErickson_ as well. And I'll be back next week for Week 14 in the prior week before the fantasy playoffs. So I hope that everyone is still in contention. At least you're fighting for a playoff spot. Again, everyone can't win the league. It's just not how it works. But if you're in contention till the end, I think it keeps it fun and keeps engaged. So and keep setting your lineup. Even if you're out of it, keep setting your lineup. Keep the competitive integrity of your league intact. So as always, I'm Andrew Erickson, and we'll be back next time.